Tying a parachute Adams using a poly wing. We'll begin by tying our thread to the shank of the hook all the way back to the bend, trimming off excess. We're using mousse for the tail, 5 or 6 fibers, hairs. Length of the shank, it's important. Set that length back on top of the thread, secure it with your thread, and then slowly work your way up about 3/4 of the way up the shank, securing the mousse to the shank, trimming off excess, and then wrapping back down towards the tail. Tension control. Light wraps going up, heavier wraps coming back. We're using gray Superfine dubbing for the body, sparse amounts. We're looking for a taper. You can build that taper with your dubbing noodle or just overwrap until you create the taper you're looking for. Wrap that up the shank. Three-quarters of the way up the shank. Poly yarn will be next. The thread is in front of the body. We'll place and divide the poly yarn clump in front of the thread. Divide it in half with the shank of the hook. Wrap in front, securing the poly down to the shank. And then we've got to wrap around the post as well. Up, back down, lock it into place, and a few more wraps just to make sure it's nice and secure. We'll take Cree Hackle. We could use Grizzly and Brown, and there's a lot of folks that just use Grizzly Hackle. We'll secure that to the shank of the hook and then the post. This is a cheat method. I bring my thread to the eye of the hook. I dub on. Now I'm going to dub back towards the wing. And leave your thread behind the post. We'll grab the little straggler right there, give it a hand. We'll grab the hackle and we begin to wrap the hackle around the post, each wrap underneath the last. 5 or 6 wraps should do, or to your liking. We'll bring up the bobbin and we'll secure the hackle to the post. 2 wraps should do. Your thread will end up behind the post. Pull the hackle out of the way, bring your thread to the eye. The whip finish is a little tricky. Slide those wraps just underneath the hackle in front. That was a poor whip finish. I'll show that to you one more time. Right underneath. Excess. Trim that. We're looking for about the length of the shank. And I don't like a real clean edge on top. I'll angle it both ways. Parachute Adams.